Hey, I'm Tim. Welcome to my channel. This is streaming my workouts for the year. Doing a body transformation this year, trying to see how well I can do without taking any supplements this year. So I'm not taking any protein supplements. That's no protein shakes, no protein powders. I'm not taking any pre-workouts, no BCAAs, no creatines. Just trying to get all my nutrients from the food that I eat, and just see how well it goes. I'm not opposed to supplements. If you want to take them, great, and you should do what works best for you. I've taken them in the past and had good results. I just don't know if it's absolutely necessary for me to keep hitting them to hit my current workout goals. So take a year to kind of fill it out, see where I'm at. Tonight is biceps, so we're gonna have some fun with that. You can start a little bit late. We've been having fun with the kids. Oh, going to be warming up with the 10 pounds. Hey, Shabby Mama, how are you? Good, I'm good. Having fun. It's been a long day, long Monday. That's good. How are you doing? You okay? And the cats? The last time you mentioned you had cats. Cats all good? What kind of cats do you have? Cats are good. Nice. I have never I haven't owned any animals as an adult. I haven't owned any cats. I'm not wholly opposed to cats. I just prefer if I have cats for them to be outdoor cats. Like if I'm living on when I lived in like the country, it was nice to have cats for all the rats and mice. See, she says two are brothers and they are 12 years old. Oh, it's old. One's a gray tabby and the other has Siamese in him. And the third I adopted from Petco. He has Maine Coon in him. I don't know what Maine Coon is. I'll have to look that up. Is the Siamese nice? My experience with Siamese cats has been they were definitely not kid friendly. It doesn't mean they're not nice. There's a big difference between being kid friendly and being not nice, but they definitely weren't jazzed around kids. That's nice. The two cats that I like the most were my grandma's cats, Misty and Sancho. Those were two good cats. You don't like dogs? I have this. I don't know if it'll show up right here. I have this scar since I was about 7 years old. My great grandmother had a Siamese cat, and she was um, bedridden at the time or stuck in bed at the time, and she handed me a cookie. And when I reached to take the cookie from her, the Siamese cat smacked my hand, scratched me, got infected really bad. It is my oldest scar. that I have is from that cat. And granted, I'm sure the cat was trying to be protective. Dad says, "Oh no, that's not good. The cat did that." It's life. Cat's paws or claws can be pretty gnarly for getting things infected. But I haven't known any adults as a pet. I just never had the space for a pet to feel comfortable, and I'd feel bad having a pet cooped up. It says my daughter and son-in-law have cats. That's cool. Did you watch um, Tiger King? And would you ever own a big cat if you had the space or ability? Never saw Tiger King. No, I wouldn't own a big cat. Too much to handle and unpredictable. Yeah. Plus, you just need so much space. I'd feel the saddest I ever felt about an animal was at a zoo in China, and they had this lion in a space about the size of the space I'm in, like of what you could see, but actually a little bit smaller than what you can see of my space. It was tiny, and it was all cement. There was one little puddle of water, and they'd yanked out all of its teeth. It was so sad, and that was it. There wasn't like another enclosure it went into or a bigger space. That was the only space that lion ever had. Broke my heart. Really made me rethink zoos entirely. I grew up going to like the San Diego Zoo and like zoos up north, like San Francisco or Oakland Zoo, and none of them were as bad as that zoo. But that zoo also it had like American dogs or just dogs too. It was like weird, and they had a Great Dane in a cage that was probably like maybe 4 feet by 6 feet, and like that poor Great Dane had tumors and stuff on it. Like it was horrible. I don't know why you would do that to a dog. I don't know. I mean, or any animal, but definitely like it was sad to see. You know. But we used to do that kind of stuff to animals all the time in the USA. And I know there's still like exhibits and stuff that have animals in too small of cages here too. There's supposed to be on HBO a similar story to Tiger King, but with chimpanzees. That's a rough one. I haven't seen it, but I know from a lot of stories that people have gotten really weird with their chimpanzees. Did you get anything to eat today besides muffins? Last time you said you only had muffins to eat all day. I figured out better portions for eating dinner before working out, so I'm not so exhausted from eating or like feeling sluggish. So that's going better. I made a pasta sauce tonight. I didn't make the sauce. I don't know how to make a sauce from scratch, but using a jar. But then I like make a bunch of vegetables, and like chop them up so the kids have to eat them. They can't get around them. And then I put like 2 pounds of hamburger meat in it. So it was a big sauce. I was able to save some in the freezer. Be handy another night. But came out good. I feel like it's hard to destroy a sauce that you're like making from a jar. I can imagine making a sauce from scratch. It'd be easier to screw up, but using it from a jar, it's basically paint by numbers. It's not that hard. All right. Well, that's burning. Oh, I had like a stream of sweat just go right into my eye. That was fun. Well, that was 11. Not the 15 that I wanted, but it's better. It's better than last week. It's better than last week by 3 reps. So I'll take improvement where I can get it. Just keep pushing. All right. My kids want to get a dog. I'm not opposed to it. I just told them like you need to be more responsible to have a dog. Dogs take a lot of responsibility. So if you want dogs, you need to one of you needs to be potty trained completely. I'm not cleaning up after a dog and a child. And 2, you guys gotta be better at cleaning your rooms, because if you leave toys out, a dog will eat your toys, and that'll make the dog sick, and you'll be missing toys. So until you guys can do a better job of cleaning, we can't have a dog around. So that's and they're taking it to heart. They're getting ready. I figure we'll probably be ready for a dog by like Easter. I don't want to do it in the winter because they're gonna have plenty of toys at Christmas. I feel like Easter's better for a dog because then you can also it's easier to go walk it. It's gonna be good, but probably by Easter we'll be ready for a dog. That'd be nice though. We go for a lot of walks. I take my kids for a lot of walks. I like being active. I like my kids to be active. So when we go for walks, we see other people walking their dogs, and it gives an opportunity to kind of talk about what good dog ownership looks like, how you control a dog. Like we point out or I point out something like there's this guy that walks a German Shepherd, and the German Shepherd is always pulling him. And my kid's like, oh, they want to pet the dog, and it's like, listen, you can't, because it's not a good dog owner. That dog should not be pulling him around. Doesn't mean the dog's bad. Doesn't mean that the owner's bad. They just don't, maybe they don't know. But a properly trained dog that you can trust should be, next to you, not pulling you. At least wise, that's how my dad taught me how to, walk with dogs. So that'll be a big thing. But it was nice is one day we were walking and they saw the guy with a German Shepherd that he couldn't control. And they were like sad because they wanted to pet it. And I was like, maybe we, explain why we couldn't. Then we kept walking, and then we passed. Then we were coming up to another guy that had a German Shepherd and some just pit bull, Great Dane mutt, like just a mix. I don't even know if it was big hodgepodge, beautiful dog, but a mixed up dog. But then they were like, oh, can we pet that one? I was like, absolutely, we can go pet those dogs because the owner had two big dogs, walking next to him, not pulling him, and was able to make a perfect illustration of the difference between the two types of dog owners. And they got it, and now they point out when they see somebody that is being pulled by their dog versus in control of their dog. All right. Well, that was better than last week. That was 35 pounds, 15.88 kilograms. Going to Just go on down to the 30 pounds. That's 13.6 kilograms. Gonna have some fun there. Yeah, I want to get a dog that we do probably. I like I like mixes. I don't like purebreds just because it's expensive and a lot of health issues. And man, like there'll be some beautiful dogs. Like I think German shepherds are beautiful, but it's rare to see a German shepherd that back hips are just not destroyed. They're not, but their hips are always so bad, and it's just makes me sad. I saw like for the first time in years, I saw a German Shepherd the other day that was older and had good hips. And I talked to the owners about it and just what they did to take care of it because I just never seen a German Shepherd that didn't end up with bad hips. Yeah, so I like Black Labs. I think Black Labs is like a good smart dog. I like Bull Mastiffs too, though. We'll see. Shy Mama says, when I was growing up, we had a black lab. He was the best. Yeah, black labs are great. We had two black labs when I was a kid. One one was just great dog, but man, could she get into trouble? She got bit like 7 different occasions by rattlesnakes, and she just never learned to leave them alone. And just we had one dog that was an Australian Shepherd. He got bit by the rattlesnake, and that was it. He would like let you know when one was around, but he'd keep his distance. But you'd have to tell her, like, you'd have to get her away from it. She'd want to like always go after it. And then one day she came home, and at first I thought she'd gotten into someone's barbed wire because she had this really serious gash on her nose, and then she had another serious gash on the back of her leg. And I took care of it, cleaned her up. She was fine. But then I was petting her and feeling down her, just petting her, and I felt something on her fur, and I pulled back her fur, and she had been scratched by a mountain lion. It either started at the back or started at her nose, but you could see the claw marks all the way down her body. Shabby says, my cousin bred beagles, and I was a teen, and he gave me one of the male puppies for my 16th birthday. My wife talks about getting a beagle. She really likes the way they look. What do you think about beagles? Now that you had one, any opinions? Travis says, love beagles, but they can get a bit hyper, or should I say, my beagle was hyper. That's the weird thing about the hard thing about dogs is you can think like one breed is a certain way, and it's just so hard to tell. Like I'm always surprised to find a dog of a breed that I don't like at someone's house, and it's just a way better dog than I thought. Like I didn't really like dachshunds, and then my grandparents got a dachshund, and it was a great dog. I really liked it. Wonderful dog, very nice dog, very loving dog. The only thing I didn't like about the dachshund was um, it peed a lot when you like when I would come home. Even when I was living with my grandparents for a little while, I would still do it. And the first time you go to pet it, it would just pee automatically, and there was nothing you could do about it, no matter how much you tried to assure her. And you spend time with her, and like she loved me, but she still felt like she had to submit and pee every time I come home. I was like, I appreciate it, but you don't have to keep doing it. I get it. I get it. Did you ever read, Shabby Mama, did you ever read The Door into Summer by Robert Heinlein? It's a really good book. It's an old sci-fi book from like back in the 50s. Robert Heinlein was one of like the fathers of sci-fi. He's in the same realm of like Isaac Asimov and stuff. But he wrote this book called The Door into Summer, and the main character owns a cat and loves the cat. And it's a really good relationship. It's cute. You could read it just for the cat story. Just don't if you don't like sci-fi, think of it as a cute cat story. You can get the Audible book like from I know iTunes has it, but A Door into Summer is pretty good. And it's sci-fi, but it's the basic idea is a guy does goes into cryo sleep, cryogenics, and ends up in the future, but he didn't mean to, and it's interesting. Actually, all night in sci-fi. Yeah, it's a good. The thing I like about Robert Heinlein is he was in the military. He went to Annapolis, but for the times like the 1950s and 1960s, he was very pro women, and he wrote a lot of very strong woman characters. And part of the reason is in his later life, he had some health issues, and his wife had to take care of him. And he really appreciated his wife and her strength of character and just how strong she was. And so he just writes these phenomenally like powerful women, you know. And there's still like 1950s, 1960s era like sexism or things that aren't great before its time, and for even today, just a very progressive like author. Just all of the main characters have strong female support, and like it's a big part of his writing that I like. And he's really smart because he predicts a lot of things that actually have come to pass. But he's writing it as fiction. And it's interesting too because he's even very like one of the things that he gets right, um, that a lot of people wouldn't have seen coming in like the 1950s and 60s is that the homosexuality would become more normalized. And that was a big part of a lot of his books that was different and set him apart from his day. It was pretty fascinating. He's really good at talking about how technology would develop. One of the things that I like found fascinating about him is he's the reason why um, they couldn't put a patent on the waterbed because he had written about the idea of a waterbed in one of his books. So when they went to do the patent, it got struck down because it was considered common knowledge. It's pretty fascinating. Do you read a lot, Shabby? Is there any genre you're into? Sam says I like mystery books, but I haven't read any books in a hot minute. Yeah, I slowed down on reading in the last like couple of years. I think the biggest mistake I made was picking up War and Peace. I really wanted to conquer War and Peace, and I just got bogged down in it. I should just finish it. It's a good book. It's a fascinating book. Did you ever read? It's not technically a mystery book, but did you ever read the Count of Monte Cristo? Remember when I was a kid, I read a fair share of like Sherlock Holmes. I liked Sherlock Holmes. I think I was like maybe 9 or 10. Been a while since I've read Sherlock Holmes. I did a lot of reading when I was a kid. First book I ever read that was a chapter book was Tom Sawyer, and I read it when I was 7. It's a great book for kids. What I asked, did you ever read the Count of Monte Cristo by Alexander Dumas? It's not exactly a mystery book, but it's a good revenge story. And there's elements of mystery to it. A lot of it, obviously, you'll know if you'd seen any of the multiple movies made on the Count of Monte Cristo. I still recommend it though. It's a really, really good book. Alexander Dumas is one of my favorite authors because I like that one, and I liked all the Three Musketeer books. And I think he's the one that said when he was dying, he didn't have any money left, and they asked him if he was scared of death, and he said, "I shall tell her a story, and she'll be kind to me." Which I thought was a great last line. But Dumas is a fun author. And technically, the Three Musketeers has some elements of mystery to it because you have all the intrigue with Cardinal Richelieu. Cardinal Richelieu. Richelieu. That's one of those words like I've read so many times, but barely heard pronounced. But if you've seen any of the movies, you know the Cardinal. What about the Da Vinci Code? Did you read the Da Vinci Code? I was a big. I like the Da Vinci Code. I never saw the movie. I like the book. I thought it was funny when the book Da Vinci Code came out. Like it caused a big. I was going to Bible college at the time, and it was a huge stir in the church. Like people were really upset about it, and there were countless books written about the Da Vinci Code, debunking the Da Vinci Code, and I thought it was ridiculous. So I was like, listen, guys, they had put the Da Vinci Code in the non-fiction section for a reason. It's non-fiction. Or sorry, no, they put it in the fiction section for a reason. It's fiction. There's no reason you needed to go debunk a book that calls itself fiction. You're being ridiculous. When someone asks you, like, what about the Da Vinci Code? I'd be like, oh, you mean the fiction book? What do you think? I was also like, um, going to, I went to a private Christian school for a year in high school, and that was when like Harry Potter was out, and everybody was up in arms about Harry Potter. And a cousin of mine had gotten me the first 4 books, and I read them. And I used to think it was funny to take the books to school with me and watch people get uncomfortable. And it's just ridiculous, especially because I had read like Lord of the Rings, and I didn't really see a problem with either of them. And there's a bunch of arguments that people make about why Harry Potter's worse than Lord of the Rings, and I just don't buy into it. But it was fun to watch people squirm and be ridiculous, especially people that had never read the book. And I was dating this girl, and she gave me a book that someone wrote about why it was so bad. And to humor her, I started reading it, and I didn't finish it because it was just such bad logics and misquoting and taking things out of context. And I was like, you're just looking to be pissed off. You don't have a real reason to be pissed off. And again, there are countless books written to tear down Harry Potter from the Christian perspective. It just wasn't necessary. Shabby says, never read the Da Vinci Code. And I am just striking out with you on books then. All right, what about any Nancy Drew book or Hardy Boys? I would even throw in, also in the mystery genre, Boxcar Kids. Boxcar Kids or Boxcar Children? I remember those were 3 mystery books or genres when I was a kid. And I've even read one Babysitter's Club. That's a mystery book. I remember because the reason I read it is that a surfer on the cover, and it had to do with a surfing ghost. So I read that. Shai says, funny you mentioned Christian school. I want to return to college and finish both my degrees and become a high school teacher for a Christian school. I'm a double major. Nice. What what are your majors in? I would be interested to hear you teach, being that you have lived the life, you've had kids, um, you know, you are someone that deals with pain, real pain, and I think that would make you a fascinating person to learn from. My majors are English and history. That's awesome. I love history. I took almost all of the history classes at my local JC at the time. I think there was a art history class I hadn't taken, and maybe like one more obscure class. I loved history. It was one of my favorite subjects. I remember reading a couple of Nancy Drew books in elementary, but can't remember which ones. Mama Shaba is old. Mama Shabs is old. What's nothing wrong with being old? I would go back and if like so maybe in my 50s or 60s and pursue a history degree. If it's even I got into a lot of arguments in school um, with teachers and people in the class. And this was like in 2007, 2006, 2007, all up to 2011. And I cannot imagine how upset I would make people today. I don't try. I just don't. I ask questions and I don't have a problem calling out when something's BS. And I have no fear of public speaking or being in a crowd of people and having everybody disagree with me. I've upset my share of fellow students and teachers. But I did learn a lot. It wasn't like I didn't learn anything from the teachers, and there was a lot of things to learn. So I'm not. While I upset them, I still did learn from them. It wasn't like I wasn't able to be taught. I had to stop going to college in 2020 due to COVID. I wasn't afraid either to call people out. Yeah. I mean, I lived in China and would talk to people that asked and wanted to know about anything having to do with God, which was illegal. It could get me in trouble, like real trouble. So, talking to people that aren't going to arrest me and disappear me, it's like you can't really do anything to me. If I go back to JC, I've got I take like 2 math classes and I think one more random class. I forget what it is. I'd have like 3 different AAs. I get one for history, one for English, and one for psychology. Shannon says, "Sorry, I'm washing dishes as I listen." No problem. Someone's got to wash the dishes. Although your cats could probably clean them pretty good. It's not the most advisable way to take care of dishes. It's all right. I'm done. I'm done with the weights. I'm gonna hit the bag real fast, have some fun with that, and see if I can do the balance board for a second without killing myself. And switch it up a little bit. Gonna do 2-minute rounds. Have some fun. When I was working out in the mornings, I could never hit the bags because I'd wake up my kids and probably irritate my neighbors. Not exactly quiet routine punching a bag. Go. Excuse me. All right. Let's see. Let's just have Mama say. So I took a political science class in junior college, and this chick in class was picking arguments with other students, and the professor told her she needed to stop. One day the chick tried to argue with me, and the professor told her I'm the wrong person to mess with, and she didn't listen. I out her, or I put her in her place, and she got out crying and left the class and never started anything after that with any students in the class. Good, shall we? As a person that's always been big in putting people in their place, I can appreciate that story. All right. This portion of the workout is all about me having some fun. Not necessarily a huge benefit outside of me having some fun with myself. And the fact that I need to get better at balancing again so I can teach my kids to surf next summer, hopefully. Ooh. Let me move that. I was at a circus one time, and there's this guy that was like drunk in the audience, and he kept like messing around. Like you saw him stumbling, like a quarter of the way through, and security like had to talk to him once because he was calling out. And then finally they were doing the acrobat stuff and they had the balance board out, and the guy comes out and he's like really hammered, and he starts to push his way onto the stage, and security's like, you're like, keep waiting for security to show up, but they're just not there. And he finally he pushes the guys doing the act out of the way, and he gets on the balancing stage, and he puts his bottle down that he's drinking out of on the, and puts the board on the thing and starts balancing, and he's actually able to stay on and doing a really cool or a good job. And then of course it turns out that he's part of the act, and he rips off his clothes and he's got the same outfit on as everyone else. But it was a pretty good, it had me going. Sherry says, the professor told the class I don't mess around. I'm quiet, but don't push my buttons. I had tried taking this class before, but had to drop out due to the issue with my pains, so he knew my attitude. I'm so sorry that you have to go through that pain. I wish there would have been a magic cure for that pain. I think living life constantly in pain is just that's hard. And it's nice though that you seem to be able to be an encouraging person. Seems like you're encouraging to me and you're encouraging to Tomo. So it's nice. It's nice that you have the kind of character that allows you to be in pain and not take it out on other people and be encouraging. All right, back to the bag again. Chef says you and Tom will inspire me. That's good. Do you have any water to drink? Yeah. Definitely. And I hydrate really well throughout my day, and especially hydrate before I work out, because there's only so much hydration that's actually going to make it through once you start working out. You got to make sure you're good and hydrated beforehand. Ooh. Almost. Almost. This is down real fast. Yeah, see the marvelous footwork. You ever see Tomo use the balance board? I'm pretty sure he's probably good at it. Tomo seems like physically he's probably got a good grasp of most things. So because I'm goofy foot, turning to my right is hard. That's like one I always have to practice. If I want to cut right on the wave, that's harder. Cutting left is easy. I've wasted too many good waves not being able to turn right. So I felt like I've always related most to the movie Zoolander. Is I think Zoolander can't make left turns on the catwalk or something like that. I felt his pain. Travis says, I don't know if Tomo uses the balance board. I only went to the gym twice last week. Hey, sometimes that happens. You just gotta make sure you don't beat yourself up for it. You just try to do better the next week. Beat yourself up too hard, it makes it even harder to go the next week. You gotta you can't beat yourself up too hard. All right, I'm gonna do just 1 minute bare knuckles, and then that's it for the night. I don't recommend doing bare knuckles. I do it on occasion because if I ever am in a fight, I'm not going to be putting on gloves and throwing punches. So I feel like it's good to throw bare knuckles every now and then. Make sure you can do it. But that's it for tonight. I got to bounce. Thanks for hanging out, Shabby. I really appreciate it. You are an awesome person to have in my corner. I appreciate it. I'm so glad that Tomo did that shout out and got to hang out with you. Hope to see you around. Hope you have a good night's rest and you're able to make it to the gym more this week. But all right, we'll take it easy. And God bless you guys. Thanks so much. Oh, I appreciate that. Very, very nice of you, Shabby.